Greetings. My name is Norman McNulty, and it's a privilege to speak to you today. You know, in the book of Luke, chapter 18, verse 8, Jesus asks the famous question, "When the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth?" A lot of times, though, we don't read the previous verses to see what Jesus is getting at when he asks that question. And we see what Jesus means when we start in Luke chapter 18, verse 1. And here Scripture says, "And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint." So Jesus is giving a parable saying, when you pray, keep praying and don't give up. And then he tells the story of the widow. This is a widow who came to a judge, and the judge didn't fear God, and he didn't regard man. And this widow had an enemy or an adversary, and she came to him over and over again saying, "Avenge me of mine adversary." Well, the judge didn't want to help her out, but she kept coming, and she kept coming, and she kept coming. And so finally the judge said, "Okay, fine. You can have what you want. I'll take care of your enemy for you. Just go away and leave me alone." So the widow got what she wanted. Jesus uses this story to illustrate how we should pray to him, because he asks the question, if an unjust judge would take care of a widow, what do you think about God in heaven when you come to him in prayer? And he asks the question, "Shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them?" So in other words, if you are crying unto God day and night continually, don't you think that God will hear and answer your prayer the way the unjust judge took care of the widow? And then Jesus says in verse 8, "I tell you that he will avenge them speedily." So in other words, if you were crying to God day and night, asking for what he wants you to be praying for, he will take care of what you are asking for quickly. But then he says, "Nevertheless." And that word "nevertheless" is there to contrast what was said before with what comes next. He says, "Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth?" In other words, when Jesus comes back, what kind of people is he going to find? Those who are his professed Seventh-day Adventists. Are we going to have the type of faith that he's looking for? Now, he's defined those who will have the faith that is necessary. And it is this: those who are crying unto God day and night continually, praying to him for what he wants us to be praying for at this time of Earth's history. Certainly, if we have a walk with God, we will have a concern about being ready to meet Jesus when he comes, and of helping others to be ready as well. But the question is, do you have that kind of faith? Do you have a prayer life where you are crying unto God day and night continually, making sure that your soul is right with God, and making sure that God is using you to help others to be ready? And so Jesus asked the question because the implication is there will be few who will have such a prayer life that will demonstrate the faith that is necessary to be ready when Jesus comes. So I want to challenge you today. Make sure that when you pray to God, pray to him continually. Have an active prayer life. Have faith, claim his promises, and know that what he says will come to pass. Amen? May God be with you.